It's a Bitcoin podcast. The only one that's making your money is you. Listen to the Bitcoin podcast.
What are you doing out in the snow?
Working. Doing this gate.
It's 32 degrees below 0 Celsius, and my dad is working hard, looking beyond the extents of hypothermia, hypochondria, and all the elements combined. He works to build a fence. A true servant, a true worker, a true exhibit of hard work and ethics. This is my father, in whom I am well pleased.
Roll it.
Hey everybody, welcome to another one of the Bitcoin podcast interviews. Today we have a special guest. A special guest brought to us from a collective of individuals operating as one. A very popular, well, gaining a lot of popularity actually. But I'm not gonna speak for you, Josh. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You know, usually I would ask this question, and I feel like I've asked this question so many times. I almost don't want to ask it. And it's the
Maybe
what were
I've
you
never been
doing?
asked it.
What were you doing before you were blessed by crypto? I feel like every crypto podcast asks that question. So I'm asking it by not asking it. I just want to say, how does it feel to be in the industry right as it's about to usurp into a new epoch of maturity?
It feels amazing. I can't imagine somebody who's not having fun right now. Maybe people who are trying to flip NFTs and they're spending all their time in front of a computer,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe they're not having fun. But everyone else should be having an incredible amount of fun. We're doing so much experimentation, so much growth. It's so hard to keep up with. I took my wife to Eat Denver, where I'm a course steward, and she's like, I don't know why I'm here. I'm not going to understand anything. I was like, just, be here, absorb, enjoy, listen to some things. So she goes to a talk that I didn't go to. And I told her, I was like, you now know something that I don't know, because something groundbreaking was just talked about and I didn't hear it. That's how fast the space moves. So now you can teach me something. So I think being in that demeanor of like always being able to learn something is a good one. To answer
The question there is, was her reaction awesome or like whatever, Josh?
Both. Or I'm still trying to get her to go down the rabbit hole. She has a MetaMask. She's got her own buff of corn. She got I think a decent size ENS drop because I made her get an ENS name. But to answer the question of what was whatever before being blessed with crypto, and that's a really interesting framing of it, because my previous line of work, I thought I was incredibly blessed and that time would never happen again. And then lightning struck twice. So I was at Lyft doing driver growth, user acquisition, and sometimes our department was considered competitive intelligence. So I got to do a lot of really fun things in the lead up to helping Lyft get IPO ready. And it was the most fun that I'd ever had. And I did not think that it would happen again. And then here we are.
That's interesting. I know it had to have been exciting because those companies that like are startups and then they are like, oh, now we need to go legit. I understand it's like crunch time. It has to be crunch time. There's no way it's not. So like what kind of like overlaps were there between Lyft getting them IPO ready and then moving into crypto? And did you go straight to where you are now in crypto, which is Opolis, by the way, audience, but you can read audiences, right?
We'll get to Opolis.
No, that is not how I found it. So I was at Lyft. We did this thing, lots of fun things. We got the company IPO ready. The company turned around and said to us, your department can't be on the books for the IPO. So you can find another role in the company, or like, here's your pink slip. And
Thanks, guys.
right. And during that process, I met Tommy Marquez from Chaser, where they were trying to build decentralized rideshare in Austin. They found semi-success, and before a lot of if they had tried to do with today's rails what they tried to do 4 years ago, I think we'd have decentralized rideshare. It was the right moment in the weird like ICO boom, but the technology wasn't there to make these things real. A lot of the tech's there now. Not the point, but I was messing around with Coinbase, and so I was playing with the big three. Considered myself a trader because I was buying and holding Bitcoin, Litecoin, and ETH, and it was so much more fun than like Robinhood and stocks. And you get served these articles, and you're like, oh man, I'm doing the crypto thing because I hold these 3 tokens. And then you see an article about Ethereum, and it's like, wait a second, this is like a whole internet. So just holding your ETH in Coinbase is 0.01% of anything that we do in the space. And so I went down the rabbit hole, started getting into tokenomics, and started writing a white paper for Tommy on decentralized rideshare. It ended up being a white paper on why decentralized rideshare doesn't work, but basically shopped it around and was like, I got the feedback that I didn't know anything about tokenomics, which is fair because I didn't know anything about tokenomics. And so I was recommended to take a Consensus Academy class. Took it, graduated, went back, and they were like, I didn't think you'd actually take the class. And this was the time that I was about to get offboarded from Lyft. They offered me like $105,000 to sit on a desk in San Francisco. And I was like, that's not happening. So like, you should come work for us at Consensus. So there was a job opening. I applied for it. I got into Consensus. I'm sure your audience is well familiar with their hiring and firing practices. So 6 months after being hired, our team was offboarded. And so it's February 2020, the beginning of the pandemic starting. And I was like, I don't know what to do, but I'm going to go to Eat Denver to find a job because I already had tickets. So I went to Eat Denver, was walking around and saying, hey, Cobra for a Consensus is like $2,400 a month. I don't want to pay that. I don't have a salary to be able to pay that. Is there a Web3 solution? And everyone's like, you should go talk to Opolis. So I did go talk to Opolis, and I told them what I did at Lyft, and they were like, well, you come on and make referrals. We can't pay you because it's a free product. It was at the time a free product. But we can make you an advisor, give you some equity and some tokens that don't exist yet. And I was like, hell yeah, that sounds like fun. And then so I'm very fortunate to be in a position to be able to take a job that does not have pay. Very lucky. And so a few months later, the government issues PPP funds. Opolis had less employees than they had before, and we're like, well, we've an open role. Would you like to backfill a role? Now we can give you a salary. So I took a starting salary of $40,000, where my job was per year, which was literally to try to get meetings scheduled for John Powler, our founder, to do the unscalable. It was a slog, but that's how I ended up where I am now.
So that's a hell of a journey. What's Opolis? Like, why did you choose to do work for them, and what do they do?
Yeah, so I would say I didn't have a choice when I started, but I definitely had a choice to stay. It was we're talking 3 months into the pandemic. And if you think about what we were doing at that point, like we were Lysol wiping down our groceries. Like nobody knew what the thing was. Everyone was scared of their own shadow. We had no idea how scary the thing or not scary it was going to end up being. And all we got were these like death reports and stuff. So I was like, I don't want to lose my house. I need to take a job that's going to pay the mortgage. So I lucked into this role for $40,000 a year. But I stayed because I believed in the vision. At Lyft, I got to meet a lot of drivers who the two primary complaints of, well, one, when they start to work full time, it's not a living wage. And often they don't work enough to qualify to be a W-2. Even if they did, Lyft and Uber aren't offering W-2s. So you've got these people who are working their asses off for the platform to make shareholders incredible amounts of money on a product that doesn't particularly make market viable sense. And they're living below the poverty line. And then we get to the IPO, and all these drivers and low-level employees who really made the engine tick and get this thing off the ground. And by off the ground, I mean like destroying the taxi industry.
I just want to make that clear for the audience. Just want to.
Yeah, disrupting old systems with new systems. There's a trend there. And no, like you had to have done like 20,000 rides to get a handful of shares, and it's like, what the fuck? They obviously didn't care about the people that built it. There's no incentive to care about the people who built it, and drivers, they got screwed, and they're continuing to get screwed. And then when autonomous vehicles become the predominant form of rideshare, they're going to get completely screwed. That's going to be an interesting one, but
That's going to be a while for that to happen.
I think we're like within 5 years.
You think? Okay.
Reasonable.
Yeah, I mean they've logged a couple million miles in Pittsburgh, San Francisco, in Arizona. I mean, we're close. Waymo just got elevated to level 4. We're at level 5's not far away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what is Opolis?
Yes, Opolis is a member-owned digital employment cooperative. There's a lot to unpack in that sentence, but essentially what we do is we help people who are independent contractors, freelancers, creatives, startup founders, influencers, podcasters, to access high-quality group rate employment benefits. Healthcare, dental, vision, 401k. We do tax compliance. And then all the things that typically come into a W-2 paycheck. We do withholdings for state, local, federal taxes, and then Social Security, Medicare, workers' compensation, and unemployment insurance. All of it.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a scenario.
Yeah.
This is a real scenario. I'm asking for a friend.
Okay.
I get paid in crypto.
Yeah.
My 9 to 5, I get paid in crypto. I do a myriad of freelance services, get paid in crypto. I try to not take fiat at all if I can possibly afford to do so. It's really hard to get all those things you just listed. What's
Yes.
that process, right? Like, what's the process of me setting myself up such that, like, I make it easier? Like, what does Opolis do to allow me to live the life the way I live it, while also having some type of ability to conform to, like, traditional like jurisdiction that I live in America?
Yeah, that's a good question. And luckily, 100% inside of my wheelhouse of what I can answer. So,
Eat you up.
you did. That was really nice. So what we do is we help the individual, your friend, wrap themselves in an LLC. And then we have that LLC elect S, C, or B Corp. And to be honest, they're probably not a public benefit corporation. They're probably S or C, and that's really a style choice, which you can have an accountant or lawyer kind of tee up for you. Most people use the S Corp. And the reason you can't use a vanilla LLC is because if you're the owner of an LLC, you can't also be the employee of it. And we need you to be the employee of it so we can co-employ you. It's a kind of eligibility and de-risking thing. So each of our members of the cooperative are LLCs that elect S Corp generally. So you're becoming an employee of your corp, except for we're taking over the EOR, which is employer of record, and then which is what most payroll or staffing companies will do. And so we co-employ you with your entity, which gives you this sort of self-sovereignty. So where in the Web 2 world, most of the companies will subjugate you and try to farm out your labor. Or if your billable is $50 an hour, they'll charge the client $60, $70, $80 an hour.
You must not work in government contracts. It's way higher than that.
Sure. I was being nice. Yes, it is. Yeah, some double, triple. You're essentially becoming a staffing agency, and you're staffing out yourself. And we're the employment and payment rails. Now, to the crypto payroll side of that, we can take. At the beginning, we'd started with Bitcoin. We're trying to rebuild the Bitcoin engine, but for the most part, anything that's on SendWire, and we prefer stablecoins. So if you're getting paid, or let's say your friend is getting paid in USDC as their monthly, or biweekly, or however often they're paid, instead of going through a centralized exchange, converting it to dollars, sending it to their bank, and then paying their credit card bills and rent, they can just send us the USDC directly inside of our dashboard, and then we process it. And then on the first and third Friday of each month, it's going to come out as fiat into a personal bank account. So we're an off ramp in that sense. And then it's also an on ramp in that we've got some real estate agents who will take like half their paycheck in ETH. And so they'll fund their paychecks with with USD from a business bank account. We process it, do all the withholding and the premiums and all that. And then minimum wage, they have to take in US dollars. And then anything above minimum wage, they take in ETH.
Quite a bit of options there.
Yeah, it's a lot of optionality, a lot of customization, and what you choose doesn't affect anybody else. It's self-sovereign.
I have 2 questions, Joshua.
Hit me.
My first one is, what does it look like when the entity that employs the person is potentially it changes hands in terms of ownership?
Yeah. You can you give me an example? Are you talking about like an LLC
So I
gets
have a
bought by
friend.
another LLC?
I have a friend.
We have a lot of friends here.
We have a lot of friends. Yeah.
Sure.
So I have a friend who, let's say, is
I
going
think
to.
I can answer your
sell-
question by saying that we are completely agnostic to where your funds come from. So who's paying your LLC doesn't particularly matter to us. As long as you're able to pay your invoice,
Mhm.
and that invoice is above whatever the minimum wage for your state is, as long as you're able to continue paying that invoice, we don't care whether your money is coming from a DAO or driving for Uber or whatever. It doesn't particularly matter.
So it's kind of like you could get paid in whatever and then get whatever currency you want after you go through Opolis. Is like that's pretty.
Yeah, our confines right
pretty
now
nice.
are SendWire, but yeah.
So,
Like,
Okay.
Yeah,
There's
the next
20
question there
tokens they've got.
is the layers here. So like say, for all intents and purposes, like just to be clear, that person, my friend is me. I get paid in crypto, and I have to do all those things you just mentioned, which was go through this myriad of things to get to the point where like I can get it in my bank account. But I don't put everything that I have into my bank account because I want to minimize the amount of money that I send to banks. I would rather keep it safe, what I would consider more safe in crypto with my own methods.
So
how does that? I just send whatever I would want. I would invoice whatever I would want to go into that, or
So
what?
yes, and there's 2 qualifications that I have to put on it. One is the IRS and state regulations that require you to pay yourself minimum exempt wage. So whatever your state is, what state are you in?
I'm in North Carolina.
I think the minimum for North Carolina is like 40 grand.
I'm
So as
not
long
worried
as you're-
about minimums.
Sure. The second one is paying yourself a reasonable wage. And reasonable is not particularly well defined. It's not something we check, and it's something that you need to defend to the IRS if you're ever audited.
I mean, like I expect the company to still hold the balance of what I have.
Yes.
I just only want to put what I need for that particular month into the bank account.
Right. It doesn't work exactly like that. So this is what I'm saying. So let's say your salary is higher than 40,000, which is the minimum for North Carolina. You would, I don't know, whatever your job title is, you would have to defend that wage to the IRS if you ever got audited. So like some people will go to Glassdoor and they'll say, all right, what does a podcaster make? I think that's pretty all over the spectrum because a ton of podcasters do it for free. And the ones that do super well make like what, 40, 50, 60 grand a month. So like
Oh,
I think
more
that
than
there's a
that.
very more than that.
Way more than that.
What am
We
I
don't
doing
make
at
that.
Opolis? I
Yeah,
should
we
be a
don't-
five.
Let's be very clear. We don't make that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so there's a very wide range, and so it'd be very easy to defend. So here's the thing: like if you're making $2 million a year and you process 40 grand, and then you take a K1 distribution
You're gonna
for like
get audited.
1.96 million, like yeah, you're
That's
gonna.
what I'm trying to figure out, right? Is like, the process of building an LLC
Yeah,
and then signing up with Opolis, does all the money that I make need to flow through Opolis first, or can I keep a portion of that money that the LLC that I bill out in the
Yes.
LLC, but only pay out the amount that I want? Because like basically it's what I do, right? It's
kind of.
it's currently
You'd
a
have to
pass-through
figure-
entity, but I
Yes.
keep a bunch of it in the business, and I only pay out myself what I need to get paid.
So you would be able to do that, except for it would manifest as you trying to guess annually what your salary should be. So let's say your expenses are like 80 grand. You'd have to set your salary at 80 grand. And then if you had extra expenses, you could use our bonusing tool to process more. The rest of it will sit in your LLC. That's your money. We don't custody it. And then at the end of the year, you have two choices. You can process it through us as a bonus, or you can take a K1 distribution. I guess the third would be to leave it in your company and pay corporate taxes on it, which nobody particularly wants to do. So you have three options to what to do with your money that's left in the company.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm. And I say that obviously as not a lawyer or a CPA. So
Wait, so let me go back to, let me give you a specific.
This interview is literally us asking you questions that we need to know, because most of our
No, it's
listeners
not.
also need to
No,
know
it's
these
not.
questions.
Yep.
We have
Yeah.
a mutual friend. His name is Pori Ketty. He actually.
I think we have a member by that name.
I mean, this has been a nightmare for me. I've been taking crypto for a long time, and I just tried to buy a house, and I bought a house, and it was
Nice.
one of the
We've
worst
helped some
experiences of my
members
life.
with that too. Not directly, but through Opolis, you get pay stubs because you're getting paid out on the first and third Friday of every month, and then in January you get a W-2. So instead of going to an underwriter, a mortgage company, and saying, "Yeah, I work for Magic Internet Money from a Magic Internet company called a DAO. Give me $300,000 for this morttage, please."
That's
They're
a
gonna say, "Fuck
very,
off."
very real thing that I said.
I know. Yeah, quote for quote. I promise I wasn't there. It happens all the time. But instead, you get to take our paperwork, the pay stubs and the W-2, and instead of saying I work for Magic Internet Money, it's like, here's a US dollar paycheck from a cooperative that has a legal presence in Colorado. It's a Colorado co-op, and they do not ask the same questions because you're not self-employed anymore. You're employed by the cooperative.
You guys are exploiting a loophole in the system of Colorado.
Hey man,
No,
ain't nothing
actually,
wrong with that.
So it's not a Colorado loophole; it's a US. But Colorado is just the Delaware of co-ops. So you
Okay.
can.
Can you explain what a co-op is for those who don't know? This guy.
A cooperative is a DAO with a legal framework. Is the shortest answer. A cooperative is like an LLC, except for the operating agreement and design is a little bit different. You can have, and I say this again, not as a lawyer. We have a lawyer who'd be able to answer these
Who's your
questions.
lawyer?
pretty well.
Yeah.
Yev of Launch Legal, Yev Mushnick. She's incredibly talented. Focuses on cooperative law and helping DAOs to become proper legal entities in the
you take
states
clients?
where they need to. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Alicia, I think we
And
found
actually-
our very next interview if you'd like to.
Oh yeah, I'd love to have Yev follow.
We should have a legal panel, because we have great legal at ours at my company. Having something like that to talk about some of the another story. Keep going.
Yeah, we can figure that out offline. But to anybody who's joining Opolis, she does free consultations with them to help make sure that they're set up and can answer some legal questions.
That is the
We have our own
most-
staff with the co-op. Mhm.
So for those that don't know, REI is a cooperative, and it's doing pretty good. So like,
The climbing one?
Yeah,
What? I didn't know it was called.
the outdoor wear, and also Ocean Spray, the cranberry juice.
I did not know
I
that.
didn't know that one.
But the core function of a cooperative is that they can have like different membership classes, and instead of there being a huge delineation between employees, owners, and customers, inside of a cooperative, they're all members. So everybody who's a member of Opolis as an employee member pays 1% of the salary that they run through the co-op as a fee to the cooperative. It's a community fee. But we only take what we need to operate the cooperative. So once that results in a surplus, those funds will be distributed back to the members.
That's like a dividend to being a cooperative owner. It's like a reshuffling of everyone's paychecks to everyone.
I prefer to refer. I prefer to refer to it as a rebate, but yes, it's essentially that. And actually, the work holders who are employee members could vote on what they'd like to do with that surplus. It could go toward further subsidizing healthcare plans, adding other plans. There's a number of things that we could do with it.
You have a token associated with Opolis. Is that is so?
do.
Like, is this redistribution token
cash.
weighted based on?
Oh, would it be? Yeah, it'll probably be distributed based off of the weight of how many tokens you're holding on to. So there's two different sides of the work token. There's it's a unit of account for the cooperative that you are earning for patronage of the cooperative. Right now, I think it pays out a little over 1 work per dollar you run through the co-op. So, Corey, in your example, let's say you run 100 grand through the co-op, you're going to earn about 100,000 work tokens. The person who referred you is also going to earn about 100,000 work tokens. Because in our token distro, so we're a payroll company, and when the payroll company, when our payroll volume grows by 10%, 5 million work are minted. That's our tokenomics. So new tokens are only added when we grow as a cooperative, which is what we're trying to incentivize our members to do. There's no hard cap, but there is a difficulty bomb to the point where to grow by 10%, we'd have to employ like a significant amount of the population of the Earth. So the hard cap or the soft cap is probably somewhere like 615 to 620 million. Depending, we started with 315 million, so about double what the Genesis was.
What about
30%.
sinks? So like you've described how tokens get put into distribution. Are there any ways in which tokens leave that distribution? Say, for instance, a lot of people join, sign up, run money through Opolis. That bends quite a few tokens, and they get redistributed. What if they leave? Those things just get redistributed, and then someone owns them now, or can they be destroyed?
There isn't a mechanism by which we burn the token yet. That's not to say that the board or the token holders couldn't decide to add some sort of burn mechanism for using the tokens, paying for services. I don't know. It's certainly possible.
Cool. I always go to those. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So that's how the new tokens come about. So 30% go to the employee members who run their payroll. 30% go to the referrers of the person who ran the payroll. 20% goes to a staking contract. 10% goes to Opolis treasury. 10% goes to the employment commons treasury. And then on the other side, when we do have profits to distribute, it'll probably be based off of holding the token, which is a separate mechanism from earning the token. So people are welcome to, if they want to, dump the token on the open market. I would prefer they didn't, but it's something that they're able to do as members. And that's saying that they don't want to hold on to that voting weight. They don't want to hold on to that the rights to future profits.
I have another question. What platform, like I guess, what is Opolis built on top of? The token stuff.
Ethereum?
Oh, okay.
Was that the okay?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Is that what you guys are using?
Yeah. So we consider ourselves to be a Web 2 to Web 3 bridge. And so our employment stack is all Web 2 because you can't like take social security numbers and passports and like put them on the blockchain
Yet.
No, I don't think you'll ever be able to. At least not in the US. There's some pretty strong like HIPAA compliance laws and like what you can do with PII. Do you think I don't know if there's a scenario in which we'd be putting our social security numbers.
PII?
Zero knowledge proofs. encryption.
Yeah, zero knowledge could be a way around some of that.
Could be. I'm not going to say it is.
Well, wouldn't that still be pointing to something that's still held in a private database rather than
No,
being
no,
on
you
the
can
chain
embed everything in
itself?
the blockchain.
Okay.
What's PII?
That's a
Personally
I'm not going to get into
identifiable
what that looks
information.
like because it doesn't look anything what like Ethereum looks like today. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So personally identifiable information. So like name,
Your phone
address,
number.
birth date, phone number,
Gamer tag.
all the stuff that you don't want leaked when like Ledger gets hacked.
Got it.
Yeah.
Like what happened again
That
recently?
felt very. That
I
felt very
moved. I
pointed, Josh.
can't
That
get
felt-
it now.
Yeah,
That's-
HubSpot just had one for I think it was BlockFi. I don't know.
That felt very pointed.
What did?
The ledger getting hacked. Comment.
Yes. So I bought my Ledger the way you're not supposed to buy your Ledger. I
From
bought
the
mine
dude?
on Amazon.
Oh,
yeah.
You can buy it on Amazon if it's from the official Ledger distributor.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was years ago, but they were still wrapped. It was like a 2-for-1. So I got 2 for $150. This was like during the bull market where they started blowing up, and then they were like $250, $500 per Ledger in December 2017, 18. No, in December 2017. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
yeah.
The appreciation of ledgers was higher than the appreciation of the coins.
There's a lot of
People lose
ridiculous
their money
in crypto. Okay,
Yeah.
this has been a lot. This has been a lot of a very good interview. There's a lot to unpack. A lot of things I just didn't know. Right, I didn't know co-ops were really even a thing. Really, the most I know about co-op is like playing Ninja Turtles in the arcade back in the day. That's a good co-op experience right there for me. But you made a face as if you never played Ninja Turtles in the
I
arcade.
love how I could follow Joshua as like his face.
I was like,
The brain, you can see the brain movement on that
yeah,
one.
you could. There are farm co-ops and like smaller grocery stores that are like local co-ops.
The Ace Hardware
or-
store is a co-op.
Is it really
I didn't know that.
your
Learning
specific
what's-
one or the company?
Pretty sure the company.
Huh? Yeah, could be. I'm gonna take you at your word.
How do they scale so well?
Just shit deals. I don't know.
You
'Cause,
make a good product, man.
Do
Because-
like
I-
when you're looking at co-ops, like do they typically like brick and mortar? This is like not relevant
Yeah.
to what we've been talking about. Like, do they
Well,
scale
kind of.
well?
So I would make
Okay.
I would make the assertion that like when your employees are actually owners and they feel like they're contributing to something that they are owners of.
Oh
I
no,
think
no,
they
I
put
didn't
more
mean
of
it in that
their-
sense. It can
Okay.
totally scale that way. No, I meant like like the brick and mortar, like the Ace Hardware, example that Corey was talking about. Like how do
Yeah.
they have so many Ace Hardwares all over the place?
Franchise.
Well,
I mean,
co-ops.
yeah, maybe.
REI's killing it. So like,
Yeah,
Well, co-ops can
that's-
have multiple branches.
is
It's just a
Costco a
legal
co-op?
framework. It's like a company.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I just know they're really good to employees.
kind of. That's
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. But
That's
that's what I heard.
I mean, in terms of PR, they do pay higher wages than comparable work in that field, but they still play the same like bullshit games, where they'll take an employee and have them do like 35 hours, 37 and a half, and then they'll cut them below 35, so they don't have to classify them as a full-time employee, so they don't have to give them benefits. So it's very good to you if you've been there for a few years and like you've leveled out of the bullshit. But when you're in your first 2 years at Costco, they treat you like garbage. It's the same.
My next obvious
Look.
question that I think, it's important to me, but important to anyone who's considering joining Opolis.
Sure.
I'm going to go through a legal process and set up an entity
Yeah.
and join Opolis. How am I not going to get rugged? Like, why should I trust you? Why should I be sending you money? And what type of like
What are the
feeling?
dummy things
What's the
that
good?
happen?
What's the good butterflies I can have about why
That's a good
this is good for
question.
me and it's not going to leave me?
So in the traditional sense of a rug, we're, like I said, a Web 2, Web 3 bridge, which means we've got a legal presence and we do everything. I mean, we're a payroll company. So like rugging you would almost certainly mean jail time. and I'm not particularly willing to go to jail for a couple grand. Uh,
I've seen a lot of shows about
You don't know what
jail.
I make.
Josh. A lot of shows about jail, man. I
so
don't know if you do well there.
No, I don't think I would either. So I'm just going to play it above board and continue paying my taxes. So we run about $30 million in payroll a year. That's our ACPV. That's a question typically reserved for like anon founders, right? We're not going to rug you. So here's the zero risk of the zero risk is that like there's no subscription fee, there's no penalty for leaving. So if after a few weeks or months you decide that the service is not right for you, you just tell us you want to leave, and you're able to not continue paying your invoices. The other thing is we don't take a big lump sum all at once. So the maximum that we'd be able to rug you for is one invoice, which is your annual salary divided by 24.
Interesting.
Which,
And
again,
then
that's not
when
like
you
jail time.
when Opolis signs on as an EOR on whatever the I guess the S core or C core, whatever the entity is, do they have any like percent ownership when they co-own?
No, we co-employ you.
Co-employ.
Yeah, but your entity. So like when Corey creates his LLC, and we have a company, a law firm that we work with that does them for like $300, and they just churn out Wyoming LLCs for us. And then if you want to use not Wyoming, we have another partnership that we work with. But you are the 100% owner of your LLC that then files the paperwork to elect S or C corp status.
And then like for maintaining like legal, like we don't want to break any laws here, right?
Sure.
What's the best way to make the S corp that we come to you and be like, hey, this is what we want to use? Like, who do we use? How do we go about making that?
So I've got a link that you can click on.
Sure.
Put it in the description. Not right now. We'll do it later. But
you don't want to see it? Okay.
I mean, we can put it. We actually probably.
Maybe we should put it up on the screen.
Yeah, can we put that on the screen? I got it. I'm on it.
Yeah,
I got a banner coming at you. Real hot.
Nice.
Yeah, we're about to blow you away with production quality, Josh. Hang on a second.
Didn't even know what we could do.
Oh yeah, that's exciting.
I did that in 3 seconds.
Bow.
That's
for
impressive.
those of you listening and not watching. Firstly, you're a noob. You should have been subscribed to the show a long time ago on YouTube. And how dare you for making me say, please like and subscribe. Now, Opolis.typeform.com. Love Typeform, by the way. Shout out to you guys at Opolis. /request LLC.
Yeah, and the reason it says request instead of like create is because the way corporate formation works is you send a name to the state, and then the state checks to make sure that name is available. Then they send back the documents, and then we request the LLC's EIN from the IRS, and then you get your articles of incorporation or organization, depending on which state it is, and then your EIN, and then you take those two documents and you go to our website, and then you're able to put that information. I was going to type in so you can throw this one up there, but you probably want to. We probably want to set up a slug for you guys to like TBP or something.
Yeah, let's do it
so that your listeners and subscribers can support the podcast by when they earn work, you are also going to earn work. So if you are learning about Opolis right now, or something that we said convinced you to finally join, make sure you tell us that the Bitcoin podcast was responsible for that referral, so that they get that referral credit.
Yeah, that'd be dope. We didn't even set that up. That happened really organic.
All links in the description. We hope. Good luck. Think if it's not.
Okay.
And here's a fun thing. So you guys can actually decide what you want to do with that. So that work that you're earning, and that's on the Polygon chain, you could keep it in a DAO treasury. You could keep it for yourselves. You could distribute it to all of your listeners, which is an interesting.
Hookers and blow. Screw the listeners.
You could spend it on. I guess you could I would prefer you not sell it on the open market. You could OTC it to me. I'll buy it from you, and then you can use that for the hookers and blow if you so chose.
I know if
I'm gonna put in work. What are you talking about?
There's some progressive hookers out there nowadays. So
speaking of,
when you ask them, you looking for some work, and when they're like, "Yeah, baby," it's like, "Good, because I got work."
So speaking of, we do have a growing number of non-physical adult entertainers who are joining the platform because as independent workers, they also don't have access to high quality employment benefits. So we haven't gotten into working specifically with sex workers who do in-person work, but we are able to support more of the digital content that is solo work. Yeah. Trying to phrase that as eloquently as possible.
Nice. I was trying to come up with a porn joke, but I ran.
You're the one that's lost for words.
We can support the accountants.
No, I wanted to ask some questions. I still have some questions. So, hit us with some KPIs, man. I love a good number. Like, what did Opolis start with? How many people are signed up now? How many people do you foresee being signed up in the near future, far future, given the efforts that you're putting in, you and yourself and your team?
Yeah.
So hit us with some numbers, Josh.
So I'll start with the thing that I've been doing is not scalable. I'm not able to do it myself. We've got some great team members who've come on. We actually brought on my old boss from Lyft who really helped the company get IPO.
Did you hire him? Does he work under you? Please tell me yes.
Yes, but we're a flat org.
You're being nice. You're being nice.
I'll always think of him as my boss, even though on one of my last weeks at Lyft, he was like, "I'm gonna be working for you someday," and shit, if he wasn't correct, he's a great mentor. So we started. I was employee member number 1. I was invoice number 1 back in June 2020. We finished the year with. Was that 2020? Not that many members. A handful, 12.
13, 14.
Something like that. We finished 2021. Actually, it was 18. We finished 2021 with close to 250. So we did I think it's like 21, 22x. We have a nice stats page for these year-end numbers. I don't just have these off the top of my head. The PCPV, which is our payroll volume, was a little under, about $1 million when we ran our January 1st paycheck or January 7th paycheck for 2021, which was up from 58,000 at the end of 2020. So we did I don't know, it's like 1,000 something, 1,100 something percent increase from 2020 to 2021. We're going to try to do another 10x in payroll this year. So that we started with $1 million. We're going to try to do 10 million in PCPV, which would be a nice goal. And then for membership numbers, we started with 250. So I'd like to end the year with a little over 2,500. If we keep growing at between 15 and 20% month over month, we should be able to get there. And then I'll conclude with, we are probably going to be shopping for a lead for our Series A here pretty soon. So that'll be fun.
I know some folks.
Do you? Nice.
I know a few folks.
I'd love to meet them.
Yeah, you never thought joining the TV.
You have my number.
Was going to be
Slack.
Yes.
Be this dope.
No, this is probably one of my favorite shows that I've been on. No offense to the other shows.
Wow, it just hit me.
Fuck those other shows
from the Slack. Now I get
it. Your community is significantly better. Like
I don't tell everyone. It's a secret. We've spent a tremendous amount of time curating and maintaining that community to make sure they're not a pieces of garbage.
Yep.
And it's paid dividends in me not wanting to kill myself when I join the community.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's a huge dividend. It's a huge dividend. I guess, well, one, congratulations. I like when good products and good services are just that, right? They're just good. It's almost like they market themselves. They sell themselves. It's like, hey, this is the best. If you don't think it's the best, use it and then use something else, right? All right, now tell me, right? It's really easy to make something when something's made well. And what you're doing is obviously great. Like, that's the whole vibe I've gotten from you and your team, because I had a short call with His name starts with a J, but he's on your team, and he
John?
kind of
Julian. Nice.
Julian. He helped me out,
Rude.
helped me understand some things. He pointed
Cool.
me down the right path.
Yeah, he's an outstanding number 2.
And I'll be sending someone his way very soon, right? So,
Not after. Wait till we get our affiliate link. Don't just send it to anybody.
Actually, it doesn't particularly matter the timing of it. If they're your referral, we'll make sure that that's earmarked as your referral. So feel free to send them.
The whole world's gonna be working for you someday, Josh.
Good salesman. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of that. Just get them over here.
Yeah, we do. We just want to get them in the door, get them started. And actually, for your community, the alpha is in joining earlier. So like, all right. So most DeFi yield farms, I think the analytics they did are they're like dead within the first 48 hours. So you see the smart money will come in within the first like couple blocks, and will be long gone within 24 hours. Our model is not as harsh and is more sustainable, but the tokenomics still exist for pretty much everything in the space, where the earlier you join, the more upside you're seeing, because you're sharing the same amount of tokens with less people. So right now we have about 320 members who are sharing 1.5 million work. Next month, that'll be closer to 400. So 400 people are sharing 1.5 million work. And that's going to continue to get smaller and smaller.
I see. I have a kind of outside of the box question. Maybe not, but you probably already thought of it. And that is the work stock ticker is Slack.
It was.
That's changed.
They got acquired by Salesforce.
That's right.
Got paid out 50 to 1.
Whew. Okay. Well, never mind. That you were expecting that question, and you.
No, I was a Slack holder because I loved Slack before I discovered Discord, and I don't know. Discord's awful, but it's better than.
You must not play video games.
It's different.
It's different.
It's very same, but different.
Yeah,
I think it depends on
that.
Yeah. You can have. I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't prevent the building of good communities. It's just the way that it's been used has kind of perverted what most people think of Discord now. You know?
I got something for you. Wait a year.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do I have to wait, or can I invest in the seed round? Like,
my man's talking. He's talking.
I work for status. That should tell you enough. Like,
yeah, I'm like one of the 10 users.
Wait, it's gonna not suck soon.
Wait,
really?
It's gonna.
Yes,
that's really exciting.
Like a lot. Watch. So I did a talk at Denver,
okay.
where I showcased a lot of what we're working on.
I think
a good portion of what we're working on. I work on things that are different that are going to be announced later. But the answer to your question is yes, it will not suck soon.
Nice.
In a real way, in a way that's going to say screw Discord. I'm using this.
I remember so Simona mentioned to me back in Lisbon that like it was going to not suck soon.
Yes, and so what she was stifled at saying back then, I have been given the go-to to discuss openly, and Simona as well.
Nice.
So watch my ETH Denver talk. Everyone who's listening, watch my ETH Denver talk. You'll be getting off Discord soon.
I've known Corey
link in there.
I've known Corey for a very long time, Corey, and I can say that was a peak talk for you. Hell, I think I've been in one of your classes. Like I wasn't a student; I just went in there.
And I was not nearly as enthusiastic about giving giving lectures.
Yeah.
So you're excited about status. That's really exciting.
I've been working at status for like 5 years, and I was doing security until I took this role, which is, what I do is building infrastructure for what I announced. But I'm one of the people that goes out and talks about things, and I was excited to be talking about this, is because it's the reason why I joined status.
Nice. Okay. I'm excited about that because I've always wanted it to succeed. It's nice to have a Web3 messenger. It had that like first fax machine in town vibe.
I really enjoy that this interview turned into me.
Did you say I've turned into you?
The interview has just turned into me talking about status.
Well, yeah. We do have a few status employees because I know you guys are like
I'm not gonna, don't talk to people. Yeah, but yeah, I'll be asking around because I talked with folks during ETH Denver about a lot of Opolis stuff.
Oh, cool.
And there are a few DAOs and groups that recommended that I use you because I was lamenting the process of like buying this home. Like, oh, just use Opolis. That's what we use. It's great. And I was like, what the hell is Opolis? And so then I talked to the people in Denver, and here we are. And I then at the same time I was pushing y'all's website and my thoughts around it in a lot of the status, internal communications. And so it's nice to know that some people may have either learned about it and started using it or are already using it. And now I'm going to yell at them because they didn't tell me about it.
I won't drop the name. But he's been on the platform for a while.
Cool. They're going to get fired.
I'm not going to tell you who it is then.
Well, I guess we've been going for almost an hour. It's been a great interview. I love interviews like this. It's a lot more about just like what you're doing, and that's real than what we're going to do. I love how crypto is like slowly moving right there. Like it's no longer a lot of this is what it's gonna happen, we promise. Oh, and here's Snoop Dogg. And now it's like, hey, this is what we're actually doing, and this is how it's going down. So we have some trademark questions we'd like to ask.
Okay.
Who wants to go first? Jesse, you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Feedback now, though.
You good? Okay. So my question is, what was my question? Dude, it's
forgot it?
Yeah.
Is what you do actually hard?
It's been 3 weeks. What do you mean?
Dude, you don't understand.
I just asked it. I took
like
it
an hour and something.
He didn't sleep last night. Yeah. Is what you do actually hard?
I don't think so. It was when I started, but then I got better at it, and now it's not difficult.
That's some Bruce Lee swagger right there. I like it.
Thank you.
D, hit him.
In 10 words or less, can you describe DAO?
Yes.
Will you? Will you?
Yeah.
This guy sounds like a dad.
I am a dad. You can hear my kid in the background, or
no? It's just
the dad joke.
Okay, that's very daddy.
Oh, that was syllables. Yeah. All right. 6 words. Group chat with a bank account.
I am in love with that description because that's literally what it is.
That is a good one.
That is
instead of bank account, I'd say piggy bank. That's probably better because it's not a bank, but yeah, a group chat with a piggy bank.
People can relate to that though.
Yeah.
Yo, D, we need to, after this call, for the dad related thing, we need to circle back to this.
Yes, we do.
Last one, but not least.
Are you telling me to advertise what we do right now?
No.
Okay, because I can do that.
Footnote.
Footnote.
Last one. Are there any questions that we should have asked you that we didn't?
Yeah. Yes. The question would be, can you tell me about NFTP rainbow rolls and what was that about?
That's what I asked you.
Yeah, well then, thank you for asking, and let me take the opportunity to answer that question. So, NFTP Rainbow Rolls is an NFT project that we spun up back in September. That was for the purpose of satirizing the NFT space while raising money for public goods. 20% of our proceeds went to Gitcoin, 20% went to Giveth, and 20% went to RIP medical debt. We raised about 100 ETH total on like about 850 mints. It would have been nicer if they'd minted 10,000, but about 850 members of our community. That $91,000 that we donated to RIP medical debt, they turned into $7.35 million worth of wiped medical debt. So they buy in bulk like a collections agency, and then they waive it. So about 5,300 families got letters saying, this NFT project on Ethereum wiped your debt. which was really cool.
What is it called?
Toilet.
NFT.
Oh, that was that?
Yeah, that was them.
Rainbow Rolls.
That was the thing.
I
Andy
would have
was
bought that if I would have known what was going
Yeah, I
on.
didn't
Why
know
didn't no
that.
one tell me? Okay.
Well, lucky
Because
for
they were on the
you.
podcast. talking
Lucky
about
for
it.
you can still mint them.
There you go.
Coming at you, banner.
this is definitely gonna be a banner. Wait.
Yeah. So
Sure.
the mint is 0.1337 ETH. The proceeds are still going to Gitcoin Giveth and RIP Medical Debt. We actually we blew up a few weeks ago, actually right before December, because RIP Medical Debt published a report saying that NFTs help to wipe all this medical debt. And all these like rabid anti-NFT people were like, "How dare you burn down the rainforest to, help somebody out from crushing debt?" And it's like, what the fuck?
Good
Who are these
one.
people? And so then Vice picked up the story, and then the Dallas Morning News wrote a thing about it, and it got picked up by like 15 different major papers. It was a good. We only got like 15 more mints out of it, but it was some fun press.
That's pretty.
I really enjoyed that I asked that question. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. I'm really glad that you asked that.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations on
This
what
vibe,
you're
I
building.
like this vibe.
Yes, man. You're definitely like casually laser focused, which is like such a great combination to have. And thank you for joining the Slack. I don't know how you stumbled upon it.
I could tell you there's you're waving.
Was it our friend Pori Ketty, or was?
Actually, there were a few people over the course of a few months who were like, "You need to join this." But there's actually the lead investor and one of the earliest adopters of Opolis were a bunch of the Badger devs, and the Badger devs are there.
Now you know the DAOs I was talking to.
And then also, and then DeFi Dan, he was the one who really dragged me, and he sent me a message on 3 different platforms. It was like, "You need to be in this Slack."
DeFi Dan. Hey, well,
thank you, Dan.
to everyone who is
Thank you, Daniel.
consistently like doing the pre-screening for us and inviting amazing people into our Slack. It's really starting to grow into like one of my favorite places to go. It's like my little sanctuary, just reading everybody's conversations. That's it. You want to plug anything else, or we could wrap this puppy?
Well, the Buffcorns.
Yeah, let's plug
them. We
them.
talked about that in pre-show. Yeah, so the Buffacorns were a 10,000 PFP that we released in the lead up to ETH Denver. There's a pretty sweet roadmap on the road to 2023 where we're going to be doing some DNA swapping and then also breeding. So as an example, so I've got this one here. This is the full set scuba. So let's say I didn't want a full set scuba, or I wanted him to be holding a yerba mate or something. I could trade the nothing trait for a yerba mate, and that would cost like a couple hundred spork. And then if the other person wanted it, we could swap them. Most people think that NFTs are the NFT that you got, but that's not necessarily true. The metadata can be adjusted, and we're launching smart contracts to kind of codify that as a new NFT primitive that we're hoping that other teams will adopt. Because the goal isn't to just flip an NFT. The goal is to have a Buffcorn that is yours, that represents your personality, which is this one. Grab this one real quick. And so this is my PFP. It's got the matching rainbow with he's got a yerba mate, cowboy hat, D20 dice. He's got that little work earring. It's like the work token.
It's appropriate.
And then these sunglasses. They're just great sunglasses. So instead of like going out and spending a couple ETH on the perfect one for me, I can just trade a few traits, and then over the course of a few ETH Denvers, my Buffcorn will level up, and there will be some. That was a piece of alpha that I haven't said anywhere else, so that's exclusively for your audience.
Exclusive.
So the longer you hold a Buffcorn, the better that'll be.
Exclusives. That's our sound. Exclusives. Well, get yourself a Buffcorn. I don't have a Buffcorn, but I've seen it slide to the Slack.
What?
There's a lot of NFTs I don't have.
We need to get you a Buffacorn.
I don't have one either, Joshua.
We need to get you one too.
Not that expensive.
So yeah, no, we had a thing where somehow during ETH Denver, the buff coins like rippled through the Chinese community, and they were like minting them like crazy. And then because they didn't immediately go to like a 1 ETH floor, they started shit selling them at 0.045 and 0.05. And it's like, okay, you gave us your ETH, and now you're giving a cheap buff coin to somebody. Good for you. What are you doing? It's like, so ETH Denver it's not even a complaint. Like that means community members who are finding ETH Denver now don't have to pay a whole 0.1 ETH to join that community. They can get it for relatively cheap. Most people who know ETH Denver know that there's huge activity January, February, and then it's going to be a little bit slow. We're trying to break that cycle with SporkDAO and to really grow beyond just having a 2-month on season, 10-month off season. And the buff coins are going to be part of that and helping keep the community engaged.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for providing us with a snippet of what you do and what you're definitely involved in and enjoy with such clarity. Obviously, you have an open invitation back to hashing it out, because by the time you want to come back on a podcast, we'll probably be hashing it out then and not the Bitcoin podcast.
Ooh, hashing it out. That's a good name.
So it is. That's I think Pori Ketty came up with that too. Pori Ketty does a lot of things for us. He's a good mutual friend of ours.
Anyway. Get that guy paid, I guess.
He's doing okay.
That's the plan. Well, thank you, Joshua. If you guys listening right now want to holler at Josh whenever he has free moments in the Slack, join the Slack. He's in there, and you can ask him questions about what it's like to be involved with Opolis and Buffcoin and any of the other things. So that's it, man. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, of course.